Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Actor's Tools for Calming the Mind. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Actor's Tools for Calming the Mind. My name is David Lozano, and I am the Executive Artistic Director of Academy of Theater. And this is one of our online classes that we're offering for free during this period of time. This is a class that we came up with a few weeks ago. We were having a staff meeting, and we decided that it would be valuable for us as a theater company during this downtime to engage our community and the online community in ways that we can support them. And two of the staff members who have performed with me, they recommended that we engage in some of the exercises that we do when we warm up. And these are, for example, these are some exercises that we did before rehearsing and performing for the House on Mango Street, for example. But these are also exercises that I've been doing for over 20 years in some cases. So we're going to wait a minute. We're probably going to start at closer to 12:05 just to give people a chance to log on. So I hope everyone is doing well. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone, and it's great to communicate, um, be it online and though not in person yet. But I look forward to that moment when we can be together once again. And I'm also happy to meet people that online that I have not met before. So uh, please send us your comments and let us know what you think about this class, and if you'd like more of it. Academy of Theater also has been working on developing two other programs that focus on health and well-being. Which is, the first one is Stories That Heal, led by Stephanie Tovar and Cheyenne Raquel Farley, and that is going to focus on people who are participating. They can provide a song, a poem, even a dance, a monologue, and share why that work of art provides a sense of fulfillment or purpose. And the class is a process to discover why art is a means towards fulfillment and even healing. So it's a class that is in two parts. There will be an orientation and then a 1 hour class, or an hour, I think an hour and a half long class. So please check that out. The orientation will be on May 6th and the class will be on May 13th. So please go to our website. We also have another course that is in development, which is A Light for Yourself and for Others, led by the great activist and former curator of community action for Academy of Theater, Ernest McMillan. And he is going to look at cultural traditions and their spiritual beliefs and practices. And so we can learn from the different cultures and discover what are these timeless traditions that allow us to access our inner resources and inner power as human beings. And this seems to be the path that we are taking in general for our online courses. And so Ernest will have a course of 6 classes, and 4 of those classes will have guest panelists who will speak to different cultural traditions. And this is what our online classes are essentially about. They are about accessing these inner resources that we have and allowing us to uh, connect with these resources as we face uncertain times. And then we can take them with us, every day of the year and throughout our lives. Um, and some may find some similarities between the class that we were going to have today, with meditation, and there is certainly some influence there. And but these are techniques that we use at Academy of Theater to prepare the actors for rehearsal and performance. And these are techniques that I have gathered from three of my main mentors in theater: Jeffrey Farrell, who is the uh, owner of Park Cities Yoga, a fantastic teacher and director; Alicia Martinez Alvarez, the general director of the Mask Laboratory in Mexico City; and Fred Kerchak, writer and performer and a professor at the University of Texas at Dallas. So I began working with Jeff in '95. I worked with Alicia in '97 and Fred in 2001, and there was a lot of similarity between their work, and so I began to integrate their techniques into a process of preparation that I've been using as an actor, and I've also developed while working with actors. So I'm using their techniques, but I may use them in different ways. So I imagine if any of them are watching, they would they would recognize their techniques that have been embedded in my artistic DNA, but they can see how they've been adapted. So I'm just going to go ahead and begin. And feel free to comment if anyone would like to say anything as you join on. It'd be great to know if you're new to the class, if you joined us last week. It'd be great to know. So if you don't mind just making a comment and letting me know if you're new to this. My intention going into today's class is to actually take a few steps beyond what we did on Tuesday. So, but if people comment and they say this is their first class, we may just take it slower. The overall objective is just to really be present and allow ourselves to calm our mind, connect with our bodies and our emotions. So we are drawing a union from our mind, our body, and emotions, which I consider the three building blocks of a performer. So great. So we've got PK, who is joining us for the second time. So we're going to go ahead and begin. The first thing I want you to consider, and I thought about this after the class, whenever we meet as an ensemble and as a company for a rehearsal, the first thing I ask of the performers is I ask them to share your bava. Now that's tricky with a Spanish English bilingual company because it sounds like baba. It's not baba, but bava, which is Sanskrit for flavor. So, what is the flavor of the moment? And so, I want you to ask yourself, how do you feel in this moment in this space? And I'm going to say, I feel rich. I feel rich to have the opportunity to share these techniques and to also access my own uh, being. So that is bhava. And we begin with a bhava because we put this out into the space of our rehearsal hall and it begins to circulate. Our authentic communication with the other ensemble members begins to land in others, and we begin to have a sharing. And it's the initial dialogues and the warming up and the creation of life in a rehearsal hall, as opposed to being technical, matter of fact, which we have to do sometimes. But what we try to do is cultivate this sense of authenticity and presence. So good. So you've asked yourself, what is your flavor of the moment? How do you feel in this moment in your body, in this space? Good. So now I'm going to ask you to make the transition from where you came from into the present moment. And you may have been finishing your lunch or your breakfast. You may have been helping your child with schoolwork. You may have been on a business call. You may have been looking at the news. You could have been doing a number of things. But I want you to make that transition from where you were to this moment in this space so that you can bring your attention on your body in this space, in this moment. And when I begin to do this work, and really throughout the work, you'll observe that I will take a deep breath. And I'm taking that deep breath because I have the impulse to further relax, to further release any tension in my body and primarily in my torso and in my chest area. So I'm releasing tension with this deep breath, and I'm also expanding my breath capacity, which is all very important. Good. So I invite you, whenever you feel the impulse to relax, take a deep breath, or to expand your breathing capacity. Take a nice deep cleansing breath. And I would caution against taking too many so that your heart rate doesn't increase too many consecutively. You may take many throughout the course of this 30-minute class. So we've made the transition. Now we are going to begin looking at what Alicia Martinez Alvarez calls the 3 levels of awareness of the actor. And level 1 is me, awareness of myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to observe my body seated. I invite you to be seated. And I want you to observe first your bottom that makes contact with the seat. And just observe the parts of your body that make contact with the chair. Could be your bottom, your legs. Could be your back if you're leaning in the back of a chair. Your arms if your arms are on armrests. And just observe your body just seated. And observe how your weight falls through your bottom onto the chair. And your torso really kind of automatically holds itself up in a different direction. The weight goes down, your torso lifts. Primarily, just observe the parts of your body that make contact with the chair. Good. Now I want you to observe your feet on the floor. I'm going to take off my flip-flops and feel my feet on the floor. There's that deep breath again. The deep breath allows me to release tension, create breath support, expand my breathing capacity, and relax further into this moment in this space. I observe in my mind's eye, without looking at my feet that make contact with the floor. And I observe the parts of the soles of my feet that make contact with the floor. Now in my mind's eye, I'm going to observe my skeleton. I'm going to observe my feet, the skeleton of my feet. There's the cleansing breath again. I'm going to observe the skeleton of my ankles, the fibula, my knees, the femurs, beneath my thigh muscles, my pelvis. And I need to learn the anatomical name, but my butt bones that are seated. So I observe the skeleton. I observe my spine. And I observe all of the vertebrae stacked up, one on top of the other. And I allow my spine to be stacked, the bones of my spine, the vertebra of my spine to stack themselves one on top of the other, so they are nice and tall. Now, I'm not making myself tall by extending myself and tensing my torso and thereby tensing my legs. But just nice and easy, allowing the vertebrae to stack up one on top of the other, up to the neck, the skull. So I can observe this skeleton of my body, the bones nicely connected, stacked up one on top of the other, and especially from the pelvis up through the neck and spine. So my goal is to sit up like this with as little tension as possible. In rehearsals, I'll say with no tension, but that's kind of impossible because it is impossible because we have to exert ourselves in order to sit up. But with as little tension as possible, I'm sitting upright. Good. And again, I check in with this breath that allows me to keep myself from rushing. Sometimes I can feel a little bit of tension in my chest before I'm about to say the next instruction or do the next thing. And so I'm aware of that tension. So the impulse is to take that deep breath. So you could say this is the first dialogue that the actor experiences, which is the dialogue with oneself. Good. Observe the skeleton from the feet through the legs, the pelvis, upright spine, neck, and skull. Bones stacked up one on top of the other. And so consider our spine to be like a coat rack. A nice wooden coat rack that's nice and tall. And our muscles are like wet coats on a coat rack. So we're going to, from the crown of our head, begin to scan our body and release all tension. Again, say that polemically, all tension. Release as much tension as we can so that we can sit upright, or exert as much or as little strength as we need to sit upright nice and freely. Let's observe the skeleton, the spine that is tall like a coat rack. And from the crown of our head, we begin to release the tension in our muscles. Now to the sides of our head, our forehead, the back of our heads, releasing tension. Our eyebrows, our eye sockets, our ears, our cheeks, and our jaws. If it helps to breathe in any tension and then release it on the exhale, feel free to do that. Again, be mindful not to take big breaths too quickly, too many, and too close together. Scan your jaw, release tension in your jaw, your neck, your vocal cords, the muscles of your shoulders, the muscles beneath your collarbone, your upper back, all of these muscles like wet coats on a coat rack, falling as you release tension. The upper back, the chest, the heart, the midsection of the back, the diaphragm, releasing tension, the abdomen, the lower back, and the waist. The pelvic region, releasing all of those muscles in that area. Your thighs, knees, calves, legs, ankles, and feet. So you have your skeleton that you track from your feet through your legs, pelvis through your spine, through your neck and skull. And then you released your muscles like wet coats on a coat rack, the coat rack being your spine, neck, and skull. And your muscles fall and release. You can scan, and if you scan through your body and recognize any tension, just breathe it in and breathe it out, releasing the tension. Good. And now I want you just to listen to your emotions, whatever they are. You don't need to correct them. You can just let them be. And you allow those emotions to circulate. As one of my teachers said, emotions are like a liquid, and they can move through you and dissolve. Good. So here we're going to ask ourselves to let go of any thoughts of the past, any thoughts of the future, and any preoccupations of the present. Allow ourselves to be present with our bodies on this chair, in this space, in this moment. Now I'm going to ask you to observe your breath. And as I said before, I think sometimes we ask our breath to work too hard for us at times. But now I would like for you just to let yourselves observe your natural cycle of breath. As you naturally breathe in and breathe out. If it helps, you can visualize a Ferris wheel. On the inhale, you breathe in, the Ferris wheel reaches the top. On the exhale, it reaches the bottom where you no longer exhale. So allow yourself to observe your breath. And if your thoughts begin to drift, just loosen the grip on those thoughts. Just gently come back to observing your natural cycle of breath. Good. So this isn't solemn. This isn't a ritual. This is very simple, very down to earth. And so I'm just asking you to observe your breath so you can slow down and be present and be in the present moment. This is level 1 of awareness. And you could also take this, the observance of your breath, observing your breath in and out. And you could do it for 5 minutes, 10, 15, or 20. And it can become a meditation practice. So this is level 1 of awareness, where we have not only released tension throughout our body, but we have also allowed our mind to settle down, to rest, and to guide its attention which is profound, but yet very simple. And this is the mind that we want to cultivate for our actors. We've also been able to observe our emotions. So we're able to observe what is happening within our body, which is level 1 of awareness. Now, level 2 of awareness is awareness of the ensemble. So I thought about this, and I thought what would make sense would be for us to observe the screen in front of us. And part of this work, too, is that since I've become aware of my emotions and aware of my body, when I experience level 2, I get to see the other human beings in front of me. And we get to see them for who they are, and they get to see us. Level 2, the ensemble. So level 3 of awareness is the space. And as performers, this includes the audience. So I become aware of the sounds. I become aware of sense of touch. And I can look around. And I'm not studying in the way that I'm trying to look deeply or learn something. I'm literally looking at just what is. The lights, the shadow, the depth. So it's not like I'm looking at art. I'm literally just seeing the immediacy of the space that I'm in. So these are the 3 levels of awareness: myself, the ensemble, and the space. Wow, time flies. So how we're going to wrap up. I have to admit that when we got to level 2, and which is the moment to observe the ensemble, the connections that we make, that we open up within ourselves by becoming aware of our body and our emotions, allows us to really observe what we're feeling and experiencing. And I have to admit that I felt sad. Heart full. We're doing the best we can. But like I said, like I quoted my teacher before, emotions are like liquid. They flow. And it's processes like this that allow us to release them so that we don't hold on to them. And so as we're working with ourselves with for our own mental and physical health and our well-being, it's important for us to be able to have moments of self-care, to check in with ourselves, to relax, to rest in the present moment, And what I try to practice is release a sense of conflict, because I mean, just the reality of our lives is, is quite honestly made up of a lot of conflicts, among other things. But we tend to hold on to them because we try to solve these issues, which is natural and it's important for us to do that. But this relaxation technique, or these performance tools allow us to release that, and allows us to be present and fluid. And this is important for an actor, because we sometimes we do want to see the actor as themselves on stage. We want to see what this personality is going to do with a role. And ultimately, that's what we are seeing. But I think that what we're looking for are what we are looking for is a deeper intelligence, connecting with our body that speaks to us, as well as our mind, our emotions that speak to us. So I think we're looking to cultivate actors that are able to access universal qualities and experiences. And what is unique about them will come through in in that expression. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Please leave your comments and let me know what you thought of today's class. Every class is different. And that's why we begin with a bhava, because we feel different every time we come in, and the practice may be different. And just let us know what you thought of the class. It's important for us to have feedback. Let us know if you'd like us to do more of this. So far, we have not scheduled this class for next week. Let us know if you'd like us to. And but we do plan on coming back on May 5th and May 7th in 2 weeks. Just for this first week, we just wanted to see what the interest is. It is a free course that we want to make available, so please spread the word if you are if it is of some value to you. Please spread the word. If you are able, please make a donation at academyoftheater.org. We are raising $35,000 for artists who have lost work since March and into the summer, and we are halfway to our goal. So if you can make a contribution, that is welcome. But I want to thank you for this opportunity to share with you. As you can see, that it is also a process for me. And even though I'm looking through a small camera lens on a screen, I'm there with you. And I look forward to continuing this journey, because as we go into these, every day is a journey in this era. And I hope that we can continue to build community and authentic communication through the arts. And this class is an expression of our arts practice. So again, my name is David Lozano. I am the Executive Artistic Director of Academy of Theater. And this has been the Actors Tools for Calming the Mind. And please send us a message, give us some feedback, and let us know if you'd like some classes next week. Otherwise, we will see you on May 5th. Thank you so much, and please be safe and be fulfilled.